Archaeologists have made a huge discovery near the Sea of Galilee, the ruins of a 1,500-year-old Byzantine church. What's special? Inside, they found a perfectly preserved mosaic with a powerful message written in ancient Greek. This message calls Peter not just an apostle, but the chief of the apostles, the one who holds the keys to the kingdom of heaven. That matches the words of Jesus in Matthew 16 verse 19, where he gives Peter great authority. The church may have been built over the ancient hometown of Peter, Andrew, and Philip, the town of Bethsaida, long debated by scholars. This discovery could finally prove where Bethsaida was, solving a mystery that's lasted for centuries. Experts say this isn't just about history, it's about theology. This mosaic could shift the way people see Peter's role in early Christianity. The mosaic stayed hidden under mud for over 1,400 years, but now it might change everything. To understand why this discovery matters, we need to explore why Bethsaida is one of the Bible's biggest mysteries. Bethsaida means house of the fishermen in Aramaic. It was once a busy fishing village and the hometown of several of Jesus' disciples. The Gospels say Bethsaida was a place of miracles, where Jesus healed a blind man, Mark 8 verse 22, fed thousands, Luke 9 verses 10 to 17, and walked on water nearby. Yet, Jesus also cursed the city, saying if other towns had seen the same miracles, they would have repented. After that, Bethsaida vanishes from the Bible and history. In the Middle Ages, people searched for it using old stories, but no one knew where it really was. Then, in the 1800s, researchers suggested it might be Et Tel, a site 2 kilometers from the Sea of Galilee. But it didn't fit. It was too far from water and lacked evidence from Jesus' time. After the 1967 war, a new site called El Araj, much closer to the lake, caught attention. Pieces of pottery and mosaics suggested long-term settlement. In the early 2000s, Pope John Paul II flew over the area, bringing more interest. In 2016, a major dig began at El Araj. They found 1st-century Roman artifacts, a Byzantine church, bathhouse, and public buildings. In 2018, they discovered a Greek mosaic mentioning Peter, calling him chief of the apostles and holder of the keys to heaven. This matches an 8th-century account by Bishop Willibald, who said he stayed at a church in Bethsaida dedicated to Peter and Andrew. For years, scholars thought Willibald's story was just a religious legend. But now, the church he described may have actually been found. The stones are real, the titles are clear, and the message is bold. It shows what early Christians believed. Buried deep under the soil in Galilee, this ancient church was hidden for centuries by dirt, floods, and time. It sat silently as empires rose and fell. In 2016, archaeologists started digging at a site called Laraj. Soon, they found a Byzantine church built on even older Roman ruins, a clear sign of long-standing Christian worship. The site had more than a church. It also included a bathhouse and what looked like a guest house for pilgrims, just what you'd expect at a holy site visited by early Christians. Inside the church, they found 3 Greek inscriptions in the mosaic floor. One was almost perfectly preserved. It said the floor was made by Constantine, a servant of Christ, in honor of St. Peter, calling him chief of the apostles and holder of the keys. This language is strong and meaningful. It shows Peter wasn't just seen as a disciple but as a leader with special authority, just like Jesus said in Matthew 16 verse 19 and Isaiah 22 verse 22. The words match early Christian beliefs and confirm what Willibald wrote back in 725 AD. He said he stayed at a church in Bethsaida dedicated to Peter and Andrew, and now, it looks like that church has finally been found. A medieval traveler named Willibald described a church by the water built for visitors and sacred remembrance. For years, scholars thought his story was exaggerated. But now, archaeologists have found a church that matches his description, confirming that his account was true. This discovery is rare in biblical archaeology. It connects written history with physical evidence, raising a bigger question. Not just what was found, but why it matters. The church was built directly over a 1st-century village, possibly the hometown of Peter, Andrew, and Philip. This isn't a myth. It's real history, confirmed by ruins, tradition, and scripture. Early Christians didn't build churches randomly. They built them over places with spiritual meaning, where they believed Jesus walked. Just like churches in Bethlehem, Jerusalem, and Nazareth, this one in El Araj holds deep historical and religious value. The villagers had no modern tools, just memory and tradition. Yet, everything found, coins, tools, homes, points to a busy fishing village, possibly where Peter lived. Even more powerful is an ancient Greek inscription found in the church. It calls Peter chief of the apostles and holder of the keys to heaven, a direct reference to Matthew 16 verse 19. This shows that belief in Peter's special authority existed long before Roman claims or church divisions. In short, this discovery doesn't prove everything, but it proves Peter's role was known, honored, and remembered centuries ago by Christians from both the East and the West. In Galilee, where Peter lived and followed Jesus, the early church didn't see him as just another apostle. They saw him as the leader. For 2,000 years, Peter's role has been at the center of Christian belief and debate. Some say all apostles were given equal authority, pointing to Matthew 18 verse 18. That's true, but only Peter was given the keys. In ancient times, keys meant power and responsibility, like holding authority when a king was gone. Isaiah 22 verse 22 shows this idea, and it's clearly echoed in Matthew 16. A recent discovery at El Araj, near the Sea of Galilee, supports this. An ancient mosaic confirms that early Christians believed Peter held a special role. This belief wasn't a later invention or only Roman Catholic. It was shared by the early Byzantine Church, long before the Pope or Church splits. This find doesn't prove the modern papacy, but it shows that the idea of Peter as the head of the Church has deep historical roots. Even in Peter's homeland, his leadership was honored. For non-Catholics, it's not an attack on faith, but a reason to reflect. Can such a long, widespread belief be ignored so easily? This isn't just about archaeology, it's about how faith, scripture, and history connect. This ancient mosaic doesn't just mention Peter, it confirms his role and how early believers saw him. As one person said, "It's the most important thing I've read since the moon landing." Because now, the past isn't just remembered, it's revealed. And the question is, what will we do with what we now know?